Hey folks, this is Ray Warda, and I thank each and every one of you for tuning in. I welcome you to my webinar called Preparing Yourself for the Upcoming HUD and REO Contracts. I want to tell you that I'm going to give you the best information that's possible. I always like to over-deliver, so I'm going to give you some great information regarding these upcoming contracts and what you need to get ready for. So please bear with me here as we go through. I've got a lot of great information to cover. So let's begin. I'm going to start off here. And first, I have an agenda that I'm going to go with. I'm going to talk about who Ray Warda is, who am I, that's speaking to you about the subject. For those that don't know me, I'm going to be covering you a little bit about my background. I'll give you my personal opinion and forecast, some current real estate trends that I'm seeing, and then an overview of the HUD REO contracts and some terminology. As well as the areas that are affected currently with this whole change, this whole upcoming fascinating opportunity that is coming up for all of us, and then some HUD advertising guidelines, because it's important to know what marketing guidelines are involved. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that, why it's so important. We're going to discuss HUD's primary objectives for its AMs, and then some items that asset managers are concerned with when it comes to listing agents. So let's start off by who's Ray Warda. Well, I began my real estate career in 2001, started my career in the lending side of the industry, carried forward, became very successful on the lending side, also became an investor, a real estate investor, which I currently to this date I am, because that's really been my passion throughout my career in the real estate industry. When I started my career, I started off actually in 2001, graduating with a bachelor's degree in computer science, but because of course, 9/11 happening, which we will never forget, the unfortunate thing that happened, I couldn't find a job in the technology industry whether my life depended on it. So I had to kind of change career paths, and I went and I started, I got into more in depth in real estate. I had started thinking about real estate and kind of did some activities in real estate beforehand, but really went in full force in 2001 and began my career. And I began my career as a lender. But the real estate side, the investing side of the industry really fascinated me. It's been one of my great passions, and that's why I carry on and stick in this industry, because I love this industry. And till this date, I'm an investor, an active investor. So I love it, love that part of the business, because we all know as agents, the greatest wealth is created through owning real estate. So always remember that. Licensed as a California broker in 2007. I became a real estate broker in California in 2007, where I had my own company with an office, sales and lending. I did both at that time. And then when the whole debacle happened in 2008, 2009, I had to change. There was a couple of choices. I either changed careers or I changed different sides of the industry in the same industry. So I decided to get into asset management, and that's where I learned so much with the asset management world, the REO world. I began my first job as an REO asset manager was for a company called Condor Capital, which was a company that bought scratch and dent loans. For those of you that know what those are, they were they call them scratch and dent loans because they were actually loans that were in default, notes that were in default, and they were put in a pool of portfolios that were sold by the big players like Bank of America, Chase, Countrywide back then, and Wells Fargo, and all those guys, Fannie and Freddie. Well, Condor Capital used to bid on these particular big pools of loans or notes, and we as the asset managers for Condor would put a value on those portfolio, and then we would go ahead and bid on that portfolio. If we won that portfolio, then we would be the ones that would manage those assets. So that's how I started my career. It was very short-lived, though, with Condor Capital, because I got recruited by a company called BLB Resources, which is a HUD asset manager. For those of you that know it, it's pretty popular out there because it covers asset management for the HUD world in the West Coast and in the East Coast. So I became their outreach and marketing director, where I was really on the road a lot. I went and I traveled. I went to all these different states that we were covering assets for HUD, did a lot of outreach events, workshops, and that took my speaking career to a different level. I've always been a great speaker, but that elevated my speaking, and I became a professional speaker at that point, where I spoke at a lot of conferences, did keynote speakings, at many different conferences, and did a lot of workshops across the country, trained thousands of agents in the real estate business, both the HUD business and the REO world. So with that said, I trained over 10,000 real estate agents, reviewed over 5,000 proposals, set up HUD LLB networks in 16 states consisting of over 700 agents through 3 HUD AM contracts. So I've been very active in the HUD home world, been very active in speaking and training and bringing on listing agents and setting up the whole listing agent broker networks throughout these states that we were contracted in. With that said, I became then a HUD REO consultant back in 2016, where I went independent and I was no longer employed with BLB Resources, became an independent HUD and REO consultant, where I consulted companies like BLB Resources, some other asset management companies, as well as real estate agents and brokers just like you that are watching this. And then I also, at the same time, I am a real estate coach and a marketing consultant. I love what I do. I have a lot of passion for this industry, and it's a founding, you know how you say, if you find what you love to do, it's like never working another day in your life, and that's really how I feel, because I love the industry so much. At the end of the day, I am a serial entrepreneur, and I am a continuous learner. I continue to learn and expand my efforts. I have got my own coaches that coach me, because if I'm a real estate coach and believe in coaching, then I should be playing that role too. So I actually have a coach that makes me better in my business, that holds me accountable as well. So it goes both ways. At the end of the day, in my personal life, I am a family man. I love to travel, and I love to have a cigar every once in a while, because that's just something that I enjoy doing. So I'm going to move this so you can kind of see it on my screen. So that's me in a nutshell in my personal life. I kind of have a hierarchy of way of thinking and how I live. It pretty much has, number 1, it's God in my life. Number 2 is my family. And number 3 and everything else is my family and friends, and everything else that falls behind after that. But that's how I live my life, and I enjoy it and I love it. So let's move on. For those that know me, know that I'm very transparent. This is my contact information. My company phone line is, that number you see on your screen. That's a direct line to me. RayOnTheWeb.com is my professional profile online, where it has all my websites, all my social media networks that I'm connected with. For those of you that want to know more about me, about my company, about what I do, and my social networks, if you want to socially connect, feel free to go on that site and connect with me there. RayWarda.com is my personal professional blog, and Ray@RayWarda.com is my email, where you can contact me if you have any questions or you need help with anything. So let's move forward. What is my personal opinion and forecast of what's going on right now? Well, we all know that REOs come and go. They've been there for many, many years. It's not just recently in the recent 2008, 2009 years where we saw the major debacle in the whole industry, and REO was put on the map, really, pretty much. REO has always been there, 70s, 80s, even earlier, and there was always REO agents. But it really was put on the map in 2008, 2009, when we went through the whole challenge that we had and the struggles and the whole meltdown of the housing industry. Well, this next wave of foreclosures or of REOs, I think, is not going to be like the 2008, 2009 year where we saw that. It's going to be a different REO world. It's going to be more supplemental to your income. So it's more a diverse way of creating an income stream within your company. So I always say, don't put all your eggs in one basket. It's the same exact thing when I see this with REOs. I say, don't just depend on REOs. Use it as a supplement to your income and as an income stream to your company. So always remember that. HUD REOs are always been there. They're always going to be here off and on. It's just a matter of getting into the right timing and getting into the game again, back in that game. We are very used to a very cyclical market this real estate industry is in, and we have to just change as the market turns. So right now we're seeing a turn in the market. I'm not going to say there's a wave, because I don't believe that there's going to be a wave of foreclosures, but you'll see an increase of inventory within the next year or so. So that you want to keep an eye out, and that's the whole reason I created these webinar series and these programs, because I want to make sure that you have the tools necessary and the information necessary to create a great, powerful package, a proposal that is ready to go to any HUD REO company or even any REO asset management firm. So remember that. So some current industry trends that I see: get live on video. That's a big thing. I think Facebook really put, Facebook really put everything on the map when it comes to live video. Believe it or not, YouTube actually did live videos before even Facebook did. But Facebook really put it on the map because Facebook is the leading conglomerate, or the big social media. That's the face of social media. The trendsetter of social media is Facebook. So when Facebook went live, it made it very simple for anybody to go live and tune in, and that's what happened. It created a whole new way of communication. And that's one thing that you really want to get familiar with. You want to get more comfortable with. Don't pay too much attention of how you look on a camera. It's not about you. It's about the information that you provide, the value you give back to the people when you are on video. So get used to it, because it's going to definitely be something that is going to affect your business. Also, pay to play on social media. It's no longer the days where you put a Facebook page, you set up a Facebook business page, and you post it on it, and everybody just came to your page, landed to your page, and saw your information organically. It doesn't happen that way no more. Facebook really changed the way things are done, especially when they went public about a year and a half ago. But because they went public, it was all about revenues. So with revenues comes the need for creating opportunity within a company of how to create the revenue, how to increase revenue, and advertising is one of the biggest things that Facebook has. And honestly, they have a robust targeting platform with their Facebook ads. So I highly encourage each and every one of you to get in the game with Facebook ads, because all these other social media sites are going the same route anyway, so might as well get used to it. Auctions is another great trend that I see, that is something that you want to make sure you get to know more, get more familiar with it, get to create relationships with these auction companies. I know a lot of us think auction companies are our enemy. They take away listings from us. They take away the inventory from us. Well, if you see the market tending in that way, you want to get to know what is it that you can do to create a relationship with this company to gain some business. And that's your part, where you have to come in here and get in the game. Get to know more auction companies, get to know more of their ways that they do business. That's important. So it's definitely something that you really want to check out and tune into, okay? You want to spend time learning about marketing. It's really important to learn stuff about marketing, learn exactly what's new, the technology. I mean, they say 80% of the business is really handled by 20% of the agents. I think that's changed now. The life we live in this millennial world that we live in, it's really about 90% of the business is being handled by 10% of the agents and brokers. And that's because technology has changed the way we do business. Technology has taken over, and a lot of the agents do not want to embrace technology. They don't want to get with the technology, get with the new things that are happening, and you don't want to be left behind. Okay, so definitely get to know technology more, get to know more about marketing, and get in the game when it comes to that, and use the tools that are available to you. And then at the end of the day, I always say network and be social. Real estate industry is a relationship-based industry. You have to network, you have to be social, you have to attend these conferences, get to know exactly the up-to-date news of what's going on in the market. The market's always changing. The REO market's always changing. You want to be in the forefront and know what your market's like. After all, it's your industry. You need to always educate yourself more about these industries. And when you're going to these conferences, I always say some of the best relationships that are created in these conferences are with other agents, believe it or not with REO companies, with other agents, because other agents in different states are not your competitors. So you can help each other by doing a lot of things where you can create a referral market between you and them, because they may know some asset manager in a certain state that they're in that may have assets in your state, and they can give you a good plug, and vice versa. So networking with other agents is really an extremely important part when you're attending these conferences. So let's talk about an overview of the HUD contracts and the terminology. What's all involved? What does all this HUD stuff mean? The 3.75, the 3.9. Let's discuss all these things. So first off, the basic one is, what's an M&M? And it's not the candy that you see on your screen, unfortunately. It's actually, M&M stands for Marketing and Management. Marketing and Management program was set many years ago by HUD to, in a way, a program to disposition or to do a liquidation of their assets. So it started with M&M 1, it went to M&M 2, and then really HUD Homes and the HUD REO world was put on the map in M&M 3. M&M 3.0, which started back in late 2009, 2010, really put HUD REOs on the map. That's where the inventory was immense throughout the country. That's where the whole HUDHomestore.com was revamped. That's when listing agent commissions changed. Before the M&M 3.0, the listing commissions were only $125, I think, or $175 flat fee, and then 5% went to the buyer's agent. Well, now they've really leveled the playing field, where it's now 3% were to listing agent and up to 3% to selling agent. So it's more leveled when it comes to the commission part. But the M&M contract really was made popular back in 2009, 2010, when M&M 3.0 started. And that's where, when I started my HUD REO career in the HUD world, and working in conjunction with the HUD world for a little less than a decade now. So I know a lot about the program, know the ins and outs of it. So HOC, now that's what you see referred to as HOC. What's exactly a HOC? Well, it stands for Home Ownership Center. Home Ownership Center is, technically HUD has 4 of these throughout the country. There's 4 home ownership centers. The centers are all, each home ownership center in the country manages a certain amount of states. These states, anything that's housing or FHA related, report to the home ownership center in their region. For example, the 4 that are currently in the country are one in Santa Ana, California, which is in Orange County. By the way, I live and work, and my company is in Orange County in Irvine, California. Santa Ana is the one of them that covers kind of the West Coast. Then the other one is the Denver HOC, which is in Colorado. Another one is in the Philly HOC, which is in Pennsylvania. And then the 4th one is in the Atlanta HOC, which is in Georgia. Each one of these HOCs, or home ownership centers, covers a certain amount of states that they are in charge of. Okay, that's what home ownership center means. That's what it stands for. So the types of contracts that are involved in these HUD M&M contracts. Now remember, when we say HUD M&M contracts, these are contracts that asset management companies actually bid on. Okay, not you as listing agents and agents. These are actual asset management companies that bid on these huge HUD contracts to be able to win those contracts, and then they would be the asset manager that manages the whole process of bringing on listing agents and selling and marketing these HUD homes, okay, or any pretty much home. So the 2 main contracts that you're going to have to understand and work with as listing agents, potential listing agents for HUD homes, are the FSM, which stands for Field Service Manager, and then the AM, which stands for Asset Manager. Now, each of these 2 companies has 2 different roles. They're both privately held companies. They're different companies. They're not going to be the same company in one state. The Field Service Manager is in charge of all the field service, the property preservation, the rekeying of the home, the mowing the lawn, shoveling the snow, stuff like that. Safety and hazard concerns. They're going to make the repairs, you know, make sure that the homes are in a safety and hazard free. Okay. The AM, which is the asset manager, that company is in charge of solely marketing and managing these properties. So their job is to order the appraisal when it gets assigned to them. Once they order the appraisal, they assign it to a listing agent, and then the listing agent gets their inspections done and starts listing the property and marketing the property. That's pretty much the two different roles of the FSM and AM. But those two companies, you really need to get to know them and be familiar with them whenever you're working in a HUD transaction. The length of these HUD contracts typically, and I say typically, 5 years, okay, which they start off with a 12-month base period, and then they go on a 4 12-month option periods. So every 12 months, the HUD or the AM have a choice to renew that contract. So for example, HUD can say, you know what, we're done with this AM company. They're not doing a good job. They're not meeting our standards. We're going to put the contract out for resolicitation and cut the contract short. Okay, so then the resolicitation at that point is for the remainder of that contract, not for another 5 years. This is for the remainder of that contract. So whatever's left on that. Okay, or the AM can say, you know what, I wave my white flag, I'm done with this, I can't do this anymore, and they give up the contract. They say, I can't do this anymore. So at that point, HUD has to again resolicit the contract, and it would become for the remainder of the term at that point as well. So the length of contracts can change. Some contracts may be shorter than the 5-year contracts. For example, the 3.75, which I'm going to go through here in the next few slides coming up. Now, as far as the way these contracts are set and who can bid on these contracts, right now, currently, the 3.75 and the 3.9 contracts are set aside for small business, meaning that it has to be a small business that averages a gross income of $7.5 million a year or less, averaged over two recent years. So if a company is large and cannot qualify to bid on these proposals, HUD will allow them to be JVs or be like teams where they technically will be a subcontractor to the awardee. Whoever wins the award, they'll be a subcontractor and, you know, take care of a particular task that the AM has in store. So it just depends on how the AM that wins these contracts, how they're going to utilize that subcontractor of theirs. But they are not part of the contract. They are just a subcontractor from the one that wins the actual contract, which is a small business. Okay, so let's talk about the areas that are affected. Let me tell you something. It's really important to know that there's a lot of states that are going to be affected in this upcoming change that we're having in the HUD REO world specifically. So there's HUD Asset Management, Marketing and Management 3.75, and there's 3.9. And I'm going to discuss both of these contracts and all the states that are involved in these contracts. So let's go ahead and begin. Now, the areas affected on the 3.75 contract is what you see on your screen. All the color-coded states are being affected and will have asset management changes. Okay, and I'm going to read off the states to you so that way you know them. The state of Georgia. So if you belong in any of these states as a real estate sales agent or broker, it doesn't matter what you are going to see asset management changes in the following states. The state of Georgia, Colorado, New Mexico, North Texas, Utah, Delaware, Maryland, Pennsylvania, Virginia, Washington, D.C., and West Virginia. So those are all of these color-coded states that you see on your screen. Okay. Now, this particular contract is set aside for small business. So only a small business company, asset management company, can actually bid on these contracts. Okay. And keep in mind, before we move further, I do want to let you know that there's going to be a lot of Q&As here, and I see a few questions popping up. So I want to make sure that you understand I will definitely cover all Q&As, all questions and answers at the end of the webinar, because I want to make sure I go through all of these points that I have to make and all of the information that I have, because I got a lot of great information. So let's move on. Okay, so these are going to be, again, for small business set aside, and they're going to cover a shorter term contract, because with the 3.75, it's actually a transition contract, meaning that it's a contract that already was started, but for one reason or another, there was an end to the contract prior to the 5-year commencement period. So it must have ended after a year or 2 years or whatever the case may be. And I can't disclose what the reasoning behind it is because I do consult for asset management companies, and I just don't want to deal with that information. I'm just going to tell you that either HUD let go of that contract or the AM let go. It's one or the other happened, where now there's going to be an 8-month base period, which is changed. Originally, they didn't have it starting this soon. But according to the recent change that was made on this contract, it says that the new contract, 3.75, will start actually October 1st and then go to May 31st, which is an 8-month period. Because all HUD contracts, remember this, all HUD contracts throughout the country, they end on May 31st. That's their normal commencement date for that 12-month period. Okay, they all end on May 31st. So this particular contract, because it's a new contract, it's going to start October 1st technically, but I don't think they're going to be done with all of the awards and protests and all the stuff that happens behind the scenes by October 1st. But they have it set for that date. October 1st through May 31st, which covers an 8-month base period. And then there's going to be 2 12-month option periods where they will be renewal periods for any HUD asset management contract for that particular contract. So it starts with an 8-month base period and then 2 12-month option periods. Okay, so remember that. Now, when it comes to the 3.9, which is the other contract, that's also being affected, that you can see on your screen. Those are the color-coded states for all of the states being affected, including the 3.75. But all of the additional states are covered in the 3.9 contract. So here are the states that are covered or affected in the 3.9 contract. If you are an agent in any one of these states that I'm going to read off, you are also going to see asset management changes in the HUD world. And here are those states: Arizona, California, Hawaii, Guam, Nevada, Idaho, Alaska, Washington, Oregon, South Dakota, Nebraska, Iowa, Wisconsin, Montana, Wyoming, North Dakota, Minnesota. There's a lot more. Connecticut, Maine, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New York, Rhode Island, and Vermont. So as you see, and you just heard, there's a lot of states, almost 2/3 of the country is being affected by this upcoming HUD asset management changes. And it's really important that you understand that this is all new opportunity for each and every one of you. It's just a matter of knowing what exactly you need to do and how to put your proposal together in order for you to put an effective proposal and be competitive in getting to that contract that you want to get to. Okay, now the 3.9 contract is actually a brand new contract because the previous contract is coming to commencement on May 31st. So that's a full contract that is just ending, and then a new 5-year contract is beginning. Okay, so what that means is this particular contract is going to be a full 5-year contract unless it's cut short based on HUD or the new asset manager. So it just depends. But how this works is it's going to have a first 12-month base period and then 4 additional option 12-month periods. Okay, so every 12 months, HUD and AM is going to have an option to renew for another 12 months for 5 years. Okay, those are the main things that are different with these contracts, and of course the states that are affected. This also has is set aside for small business, just like the 3.75 contract. So only small business companies can technically bid on these HUD contracts. So what does that mean to you as the agent? Well, what's next? What do you do? Well, now that you know all these states that are being affected and all these changes that are happening, what's next? What's going to happen? Well, now is the time for you to know exactly and to actually put together and be ready for this next change or next opportunity. It's really important for you to take advantage of the opportunity that comes your way, because it's important to know that you still have time. You still have time to put together your proposals, but you don't have too much time. So that's why it's urgent that you understand what to put in these HUD REO contracts, okay? So let's talk about what's all included. First of all, I want to discuss HUD's advertising guidelines. It's important to understand what these guidelines are, because I'll tell you one thing. I'd say about 75 to 80% of the agents that I've met across the country, where I've done all these multiple workshops, trained over 10,000 agents, done thousands of workshops across the country, okay, I know one thing, that they don't have the updated information. They don't understand or know that that you and each and every one of you can advertise any HUD listing without the permission of the listing agent. This is a phenomenal opportunity for any selling agent out there. That's why HUD has really leveled the playing field between the listing agent and the buyer's agent. Okay, both of these agents can actually market these homes just like as if they were the listing agent. Of course, if you're not the listing agent, you're going to have to make sure that you don't call yourself the listing agent and follow the advertising guidelines, just like the listing agents have to follow these same guidelines, okay? But it's important to know these guidelines and take advantage of the opportunity, because take it or believe it or not, there is not any other home that's on the market, whether it's traditional or any other REO, that has this rule where you can actually market that home without the permission of the listing agent. This is very special, only exclusive to HUD homes and HUD listings, because they are an open market listing. So you really want to take advantage of this if you really haven't done so already. Now, let's look at some of these guidelines. You want to make sure that you use phrases like, you know, if you want to refer to HUD homes, call them HUD homes, HUD acquired, HUD owned, or HUD REO. All these phrases are safe to use. You just don't want to use anything negative, negative connotation to them. And I'm going to discuss that in a few minutes here. You also want to make sure that you include the Equal Housing Opportunity logo that you see, which is the logo on your screen right here. This is an important logo that must be on each and every one of your marketing material covering any HUD home. Please don't forget that. This is important. It has to be on your websites, on your landing pages, as long as it's related to HUD homes or anything offline or online. You must have that Equal Housing Opportunity logo. You also need to adhere to regulations and agencies regarding the Federal Real Estate Commission, MLS advertising regulations, including the Truth in Lending Act. Any kind of regulation like that, you want to make sure that you adhere to those regulations. You also want to make sure that there's price consistency. Because HUD homes go through price reductions, you want to make sure that when you are advertising HUD homes, that you make sure that the price is identical to the price that's active on HUDHomestore.com. It's important that you have that, okay? So make sure it's on your checklist of things to do when you're going through your properties. Some HUD marketing don'ts. Do not ever use the HUD seal. This is not allowed. The HUD seal is a registered trademark of HUD. Only HUD and its authorized users and employees can utilize or use this particular seal. I see a lot of agents out there that when they're advertising HUD homes, they use this seal on their website. And I don't know if it's an authority thing because it says U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, or if it's just something that they don't know of, but please don't use this seal on your website. It's a no-no. It's a negative when it comes to you looking like a rookie when you're showcasing your marketing of HUD homes. So instead, use the Equal Housing Opportunity logo, which is actually required. Okay. Some more marketing don'ts. Don't refer to HUD homes in a negative manner or in a negative way, such as calling them HUD foreclosures or HUD repos or HUD repossessed or HUD must sell. That's all negative connotation to HUD homes, and you don't want to ever do that. Another marketing don't, which is really not a guideline to HUD, it's just my pet peeve, my personal pet peeve, because I've experienced it so often that I had to bring it up, Don't let your voicemail boxes become full. Please don't do that, because when I was looking at all of these applications, when I'm setting up these broker networks, and like I said, I've set up, broker networks in 16 different states, and I've talked to a lot of agents, okay? One thing that I didn't appreciate was when an agent had a voicemail box that was full. Now I can understand if it's an emergency or something happened, but there's really no reason your voicemail box should be full besides that. Don't be an unprofessional. Make sure that you check your voicemails and make sure that they're not full, because I can't leave a message, or somebody that's calling you can't leave a message. And that was my pet peeve. When I had that, when I was trying to call to interview an agent, that would take that application and package and put it at the end. Because if they weren't responsible to empty their voicemail boxes, I don't even want them touching my assets. So that was one thing that I really want to reiterate to you all. Also, don't use coming soon in your HUD advertising. When you are advertising HUD homes, you cannot call them coming soon. You cannot market them prior to them being active on the market on HUDHomestore.com. So you want to make sure that any home that you're advertising that's a HUD home is listed active for sale on HUDHomestore.com. It's very important, okay? Don't portray yourself as a listing agent, which is very common, very straightforward. You can market any HUD home without the listing agent's permission. You just cannot label yourself or call yourself the actual listing agent. That's not allowed. That's actually against MLS guidelines too. So it's not just against HUD guidelines, but also MLS guidelines. So you want to make sure that you stay away from anything like that. So in a nutshell, when you're advertising HUD homes, advertise them anywhere you'd like, online, offline, media, print media, landing pages, single property sites, Craigslist, your dad's list, your mom's list, whoever list you want to advertise them on, go for it. You can do that. You just make sure that you want to follow these advertising guidelines that I just showed you. All right, so let's get into HUD's 5 primary objectives. This is important to understand. So now that you know the marketing guidelines, you know what to do when you're marketing HUD homes, because that's a big part of your proposal that you have to make sure that you put in a lot of information about. And that's why you wanted to know what these guidelines were, so that way when you start marketing HUD homes, you can take snippets and snapshots of what you're marketing and include it in your proposal. So let's talk about HUD's 5 primary objectives for its AMs. These are very similar to what AMs are expecting of the listing agents, which I'm going to go through as well. But I want to tell you what HUD scores their AMs on, because it's important to know this. This is content that you're going to have to incorporate into your proposal. So number 1 is accurate values. HUD expects its asset managers to price the properties effectively, competitively, and accurately. Okay, meaning that the BPOs that they get from the listing agents, they need to be accurate. The appraisers that they use, they need to be local appraisers that will give great market values, and not just regional appraisers that may not know anything about that particular local market. So values are very important because it affects everything else. It affects your return, your net return, affects days on market, inventory days, all that stuff, which you'll see that, number 2 on the list of what's HUD's primary objective is the highest net return. They want to make sure that the sales achieve the highest net return. Bottom line, that's what they look at the end of the day, is what's their cut in the whole profit for them, or what money can they recuperate back into the fund. Okay. Number 3 is the holding time. They want to minimize holding time, which includes inventory time frame and days on market. Okay. They want to minimize holding time because carrying costs are costly to HUD. So with the AMs, the asset managers, actually don't get paid until the transaction closes. Just like you as listing agents and agents, you don't get paid a commission until that property closes. Same thing goes for the AM. So remember, the AM has the best interest to close these properties just as much as you do, okay? But now, the FSM, however, typically gets paid monthly. So technically, the longer the property stays in HUD's inventory, the more it costs HUD money. Okay, so keep that in mind. That's why holding time is one of their primary objectives for their AMs. Number 4 is owner-occupant opportunities. They want to have sales that create owner-occupant opportunities. After all, HUD's main mission is to create stability in a local neighborhood by creating home ownership. So that comes back to you as listing agents as well on how good your marketing plan is to incorporate first-time home buyers and workshops like that that will bring in more first-time home buyers and homeowners. So that's really important. Number 5 is closing proceeds. Although this may really not have much to do with the listing agents because it's more of an asset management to HUD, they want to make sure that closing proceeds are properly accounted for and delivered to HUD in a timely manner. So those are right there, as you can see. They are the 5 primary objectives for its asset managers. HUD uses these objectives to score their asset managers. So asset managers have scorecards just like the listing agents have scorecards. So it's really the same thing. But now I want to get into what factors that asset managers look for in their listing agents. And these are very similar to HUD's objectives. Number 1 is days on market. Very familiar, huh? Actually all, not just HUD, any REO company, any asset management company, they want to reduce their inventory of REOs and sell them quickly. That's their goal. Okay, ultimately, bottom line, that's their goal. Days on market. So you have to effectively communicate how your days on market compares, what your days on market in the average are, and how you surpass or beat that days on market. So that means that your marketing is really important to show and showcase of how you market these properties. Number 2 is the pricing strategy. Again, sounds familiar. They all want to know the real situation with the market, and they are relying on you to show them. So how you are the ones that's going to show them is through your BPOs. So they evaluate BPOs primarily on the timeliness of the BPO and the accuracy. So it's important that you have accurate BPOs and they are submitted in a timely fashion. It's really important. Those are it's a very important factor in pricing these properties. Although many of you know that HUD homes do mostly get priced based on the appraised value, but the BPOs are taken into consideration, especially when it comes to a reanalysis of the pricing after it's listed and not sold. So keep that in mind. Number 3, net proceeds, very similar to HUD's objective. They all want to minimize their losses with these transactions, and you know what? You will need to show them how you'll save them time and money. That's the bottom line. You're going to be the go-to person on showing them how that's going to help them, how you're going to help them sell that property and get the highest net proceeds to them. With that comes your marketing and advertising, which is another asset management concern, major concern from their listing agents. They want to make sure that they want to hear specifics about how you're going to market their homes, how you'll market their property, whether it's online or offline. Remember this, folks. When you're putting together a proposal, don't be general when it comes to this kind of stuff. You want to make sure that you are being detailed on the type of marketing you're doing, whether it's online or offline. Don't just say, I'll market your homes online and offline. That doesn't tell me nothing. You're being just like any other agent out there with an average proposal. You want to make that proposal magnificent. You want to be captivating in that proposal. So in order for you to do that, you got to be detailed and you got to touch points that are sensitive to HUD or the REO company that you're submitting this proposal to. So it's very important, okay? Number 5, your experience and qualifications. You know, I always say it really doesn't matter if your company is a small company, whether it's a large company, whether it's an independent franchise, independent brokerage, or a national franchise. It really doesn't matter. You and your company have qualifications. You have, you know, stuff that you know about the local market, your experience on how you can better serve that client. And that comes down to number 6, which is being a resource. Because when you are, you have that qualification and experience, you become a resource rather than a person that's just out there, listing a home. So you'll need to demonstrate how and what you will do to help them make this transaction go smoothly and effectively and within all parties of the deal, not just the AM, but all the agents. And you're minimizing all these extra calls that the asset manager is getting, where you could have been the one that could be answering these questions with the asset management company, with the buyer's agents or the other parties that are involved. So make sure that you act like a resource and you show what kind of resource you are. So again, being local is important. You don't want to put on your resume that you handle a whole area or region or multiple counties unless you have offices in those counties. I'll give you a perfect example. I'm in Orange County, California, in Irvine, right? If I go and put together my resume and say I cover all of Southern California, you know what? For somebody that is in Southern California, they'll call bull crap right there on that, because they know that there is no way I, as a one agent and one team in one location, can cover all of Southern California. You know why? Because it takes me from from Irvine to LA is 45 miles. To get to Irvine to LA in LA traffic on the peak times, it's going to take you an hour and a half to 2 hours to get there. So it's impossible for you to get all your tasks done and be able to go all around all of Southern California and cover all these properties and know the local market area and what it's all about. It's impossible. So make sure that you stay local, and be specific to your local area when you're talking about your expertise. That's what's going to open up doors for you even more in other places eventually when you grow and expand your branches and your team. So remember that, okay? So now what? Now that you've heard me give you all of this information, what do you need to do? Well, you need to create a winning marketing proposal and resume. You have to prepare for the upcoming changes that'll happen. Otherwise, you'll achieve the same results you did before. So don't wait until the last minute. I repeat, don't wait till the last minute to put together your winning HUD REO proposal and resume. I'm being straightforward with you. I've seen this happen so often where agents came to me the last minute wanting to submit their proposal. They either missed out on the opportunity, because you have a short period of time with these asset management companies. When HUD contracts awards or any REO company awards gets any client, they have to set up their network right then and there. They don't have time. So their window of opportunity for you to apply is very short and limited. You want to make sure that you're there and know exactly what to do, okay? Remember that. So right now you're sitting at your computer watching this webinar. You've heard me go through the overview of the HUD M&M 3.7 and 3.5 contracts and terminology. You've heard me go through the areas that will be affected. You've heard me go through the marketing guidelines and marketing don'ts. You've heard me go through the 5 primary objectives that HUD has for its AMs. You've also heard me go through the 6 factors that asset managers look for in their listing agents. So you know that you don't have too much time to get ready for this next opportunity. So if you are someone who's really serious about the upcoming HUD REO opportunity, you may be wondering, how in the world am I going to put together a winning proposal? Or how could I use this information shown to me today in a step-by-step way? Or you're just tired. You're just tired of being one of the best realtors in your local market area, but we're never given an opportunity to be a HUD REO listing agent. I know you're frustrated, and I want to help. Okay, I've seen this happen before. A lot of agents have come to me with great demand. Because agents have come to me and asked me to help them with their submitting their REO proposals and resumes and putting them together, I wanted to find a way that I can leverage all of my experience, all of my knowledge in these HUD contracts, in these REO contracts, and how to put together an effective winning and captivating resume that will be noticed in a field of thousands of other applicants. So I decided to launch an online video course, and I've called it Formula for a Winning HUD REO Proposal. So I've created a 6-module video course on creating a HUD REO marketing proposal and resume, along with my tips and strategies, where I break down in detail each section of the proposal and the resume step by step. This course is designed to give you everything you need to create your HUD proposal and resume. So if you want to have the opportunity to learn from me, the HUD REO expert that has reviewed over 5,000 applications and proposals through 3 different HUD AM contracts, trained over 10,000 real estate agents across the country, set up a network of over 700 listing agents across 16 states in the US, then this program is specifically for you. So here's what we've done. Module 1 covers the value offer. Module 2 is your website. Module 3 is your BPOs. Module 4 covers your application. Module 5 covers your resume. And Module 6 covers your marketing proposal. But I want to break down what each of these modules covers in a little more detail. So in Module 1, you'll discover what your value proposition is and the different examples of a value proposition. In Module 2, you'll discover what to look out for when you're on your website that will make your website match your proposal. This is really important because when I was reviewing all these applications and proposals that came to me from the listing agents, the first thing I did was go on their website to see what exactly, or go on Google and see what exactly is this agent all about. Do they match what shows on their website and what your resume says in your proposal? So I'll go through the important things that you're going to look out for on that particular in that particular module. Module 3, you'll discover do's and don'ts of BPOs and what to look out for when you're creating them. In Module 4, you'll discover things to look out for in the application process and how to prepare for it. Remember, every asset management company is different. If it's a HUD REO asset manager or any other REO asset manager or servicer, they have different requests or qualifications that they look for. So some of them have just their own application, and that's all you have to submit. Some have an application and they request your proposal. Some want all 3. They have an application and they want your proposal and resume. So it really depends on the asset manager, but you want to prepare yourself on knowing what is included on the application and what to expect. And in Module 4, I discussed that in detail. In Module 5, this is where we start getting into the meat and bones and the whole in-depth program part. You'll discover here in Module 5 in detail, step by step, how to format your resume and what to put in each section of this resume. In Module 6, this is where it gets interesting. You'll discover, even more interesting actually, you'll discover in detail, step by step, how to format your marketing proposal and what to put in each section of the proposal. This is really important. The flow and what to include in these sections is very, very vital to a very good, captivating proposal. So here's what I want you to do now. If you implement everything I just showed you, you probably are going to be able to put together a general proposal. But the question is, the million-dollar question, is it an extraordinary and captivating proposal? That's the question. Well, to increase your chances on winning a HUD LLB contract or any REO contract for that matter, you need to invest in my step-by-step formula for winning HUD and REO proposal course right now. Okay, time to invest in yourself. My strategies will increase your chances of getting your proposal noticed and considered. I've had clients pay me thousands of dollars for consulting sessions on putting together their HUD REO packages. I set the initial price point at $997, considering that the generous, detailed information I provide in my step-by-step course. After some thinking, I settled on $697, but the day before I launched this program, I wanted to make your decision really a no-brainer. I want it to be made more accessible to the mass. With that said, you can get all my strategies and information, all my experience, all my knowledge for a one-time payment of $397 by going to reoproposal.com. Go to reoproposal.com now, check out the sales page, and sign up and enroll to have instant access to my course. But here's more. I'm telling you, there's more, because I'm the type of person, I like to provide more value to you. So when you claim your spot in my formula for a winning HUD REO proposal video course from today's video, today's webinar, I'm going to give you an additional 4 bonuses that are valued at over $1,000. Let me tell you what these bonuses are. Bonus number 1, it's a video on important tasks of a HUD REO agent. I'll reveal the exact tasks of a HUD listing agent, especially the ones that affect the scorecard. This will help you use this content and verbiage in parts of your proposal. You're going to need to know what these tasks are. It's important because you want to align these tasks in your proposal. Bonus video number 2 is marketing HUD homes and your brand on Instagram. With Instagram being one of the quickest growing social media platforms out there, it's essential that you know all about it. Here you'll learn tips on marketing HUD homes on Instagram, setting up your bio, what and when to post, and even more. Okay, bonus video number 3 is a video on the online marketing platform to market HUD homes effectively. I will reveal an online marketing platform which I personally use. This platform is something that I personally use. It's not just something that I am just researching and coming up with to tell you about it. It's something that I use to market all my traditional listings and homes. Okay, but this is the marketing platform that you can use to market HUD homes by creating landing pages, single property sites, posting on Craigslist, Facebook ads, YouTube, virtual tours, and more, all by entering the FHA case number. That's the best thing about it. This will make you look like a marketing pro. Guarantee it. It's gonna make you look like a professional, because you have all of these different avenues where you can market and you can showcase this stuff on your proposal. Okay. Bonus 4 is my REO Asset Manager Black Book. I'll give you access to my Black Book of REO Asset Managers, their contact information, so that you can create relationships and network with them. This value right here is priceless when it comes to that. Priceless when it comes to the Asset Manager Black Book. In addition to all this, you'll get 2 review videos, one of them being the 6 factors that AMs look for in a listing agent, which I went through today, but these videos are going to be a little more detailed in their review of what we spoke about. And then the second video is the HUD's 5 primary objectives to their AMs, because again, it's important to know these 2 things for you to be able to incorporate that into your proposal and resume as a form of content. So act now. My promotional price of $397 for my course and bonuses will only be available for the next couple of weeks. After that, I will increase the price to $997. So quick recap, you'll get my 6-module formula for winning HUD REO proposal video course. You get my 2 review videos that I mentioned. You get the bonus video on important tasks of a HUD REO agent. You get my bonus video on marketing HUD homes and your brand on Instagram. You'll get my bonus video on the online marketing platform to market HUD homes effectively, and my exclusive bonus REO Asset Manager Black Book. In closing, you know that this is an amazing value. Take advantage of this incredible offer and discount while you can, plus all the additional amazing bonuses by visiting reoproposal.com. The link is below. Check it out. Go to the webpage, sign up, get access today, and start creating your REO proposal. And remember, this proposal that the flow of the proposal and everything in this course is also great, exactly effective for other REO companies, whether it's servicers, REO companies, or HUD REO, any one of them. You need to realize that this course is setting up that proposal. The one thing that has additional in my course, in this course that you're signing up for, investing for, is that is more HUD related with HUD related content. But other than that, the flow, the material, the steps, the process, it's all pretty much the same. So you can utilize this, this video course for any other REO asset management company as well. So let's go ahead and go with some questions that I have on my screen and stuff that's come up, so that way we can go and ask, answer all of your questions. I want to make sure I get to all of them, okay? So let's get started. The first question I see is, when did you say the LLB applications could be likely due for my state? So depending on, I'm not too sure what your state is, but if it's any of the states that I mentioned, all, 30 some states that I mentioned today, the applications are going to be due at the time there's a HUD awardee. When HUD awards the contract award, that's when you will know who the asset manager is at that time. Okay, so excuse me for a second. Okay. So at that time, you'll know exactly who it is that the asset manager is. And remember one thing, whoever invests in my program, in my video course, will actually get updates from me as they come along, because during these whole contract periods, these contract processes, things change with HUD. Some guidelines change or things change, and I update. As a matter of fact, ever since I launched this course, I've already had 2 updates that I've already posted in my videos in the portal. So anybody that has invested in my videos, in this video course, in my content, will get updates from me. So keep that in mind. You'll be updated. You'll also be updated with when the awards come out. So as soon as HUD awards these contracts, as soon as I'm aware of them, I will be providing these that information to my inner circle of people that have invested in this program. So make sure, again, go to reoproposal.com or click on the link below that you see underneath your screen, so that you can take advantage of this great opportunity with all these bonuses as well. Let's go on to another question. Let's see. How do we learn which AM is awarded our state? I just mentioned that. I will be notifying all awardees as I get the information. Once I get it, I'll notify it through a video in the back-end portal of my system. So all my inner circle people that have invested in my course and invested in themselves will get the information as far as what company has been awarded at that time. Okay, another question is, what is the difference between the 3.75 and 3.9 contracts? I think I've went through that actually. This question was really in early on in the process. But I've went through it. It's mainly the states, the coverages, and then the time periods of these contracts. A 3.75 is almost a 2.5-year contract. 3.9 is a 5-year contract. But other than that, they're just really the same. And then each contract has a different amount of states that it has that are involved. And again, I'm going to repeat the states for you just in case you need to know what these states are. There's a lot of them. And here we go again. Arizona, California, Hawaii, Guam, Nevada, Idaho, Alaska, Washington, Oregon, South Dakota, Nebraska, Iowa, Wisconsin, Montana, Wyoming, North Dakota, Minnesota, Connecticut, Maine, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New York, Rhode Island, Vermont, Georgia, New Mexico, Colorado, North Texas, Utah, Delaware, Maryland, Pennsylvania, Virginia, West Virginia, and Washington, D.C. As you can see, it's almost 2/3 of the country. So there's going to be a lot of changes, which will create massive opportunity. Another question is, does HUD like to award to women-owned brokers? Well, it's really not HUD that awards the listing agent contracts. It's the AMs that award the listing agent contracts. The AMs do like to have socioeconomic diversity, okay? But they're not required to have a certain percent. So HUD doesn't require the AM to have, let's say 60% of your listing agents should be diverse or should have a socioeconomic diversity. It doesn't work like that. It's really whoever's best qualified for the position will be the one that's chosen. Now, if you are a woman-owned, if you're a veteran-owned, minority-owned, small business, absolutely, that benefits you. But it's not the end-all, say-all. So I just want to give you that notice so that way you're aware. Let's see. Will this be helpful for sending the proposal to different asset management companies? Absolutely. As I mentioned earlier, this course is not just for a HUD REO course. It's for HUD and any REO company. The flow and the information that the way you're going to put your proposal together is the same exact way, whether if you're sending it to a HUD REO company or a asset manager or a servicer. Okay, it's just that, again, this course is geared more on the content part of it to HUD and HUD REOs because there's such a massive opportunity coming our way in all these different states. So that's why it's more geared to that. But no, any REO company, you'd be able to put together a proposal based on my video course. All right, do I have to be a broker to be considered an REO agent? I'm working on my broker's license, but I'm not there yet. Okay, well, you don't have to be a broker. Remember, HUD uses a lot of acronyms. They love acronyms. They love numbers and stuff like that. So HUD uses the term LLB, which stands for local listing broker, which equals a listing agent. That's what they call listing agents, HUD. They don't call them listing agents. They call them local listing brokers, or in short, LLBs. So even though the word broker is there, no, you don't have to be a broker to be applying for a listing agent position with a HUD REO company. Absolutely not. Even with any other REO company or servicer, except that the only thing is the agreement, the master listing agreement, is going to be based on the asset management company and the broker. It always is in any contract because there's fiduciary responsibility. There's funding. The commissions have to be paid from a broker to broker. It cannot be paid from a company to an agent that's not a broker. So remember that. That's why the agreements, the main person on the agreement is the broker, and then also the listing agent that is assigned to that particular contract. So I hope that answers that question. Let's see, if you're currently a listing agent for HUD, do you need to resubmit an application with these new contracts? Absolutely. This will be a whole new opportunity for everybody. So everybody is going to have an opportunity to submit their applications. Like I said, it happens really quick, and the time frame on that window of opportunity for applications being submitted is very short. You have to be ready. I always stress this. People say, oh, I still have a few months to go. Few months are going to go like this. In the HUD world, they're going to go like this. And you're going to miss out on that opportunity. So you need to get on top of your game now. Start with your proposal now. You need to know an effective way of how to write your proposal now. And that's by going to reoproposal.com, where you can sign up and get instant access to my video course and all the bonuses that I mentioned. Let's see if there's any more. How do you access the video course, or how is this delivered? Okay, so once you make your investment, you will have set up a username and password where you originally signed up with. That takes you to our membership portal. That membership portal, again, it's $397, a one-time fee that you pay, and that's it. It gives you access to everything, all the videos, all the content, all that stuff. So it's a back-end portal that has all of the content, okay? Now, and any updates that I provide are going to be through that portal. So keep that in mind. That's how you access the videos and all the content, okay? Here's another question that says, do I need to buy anything else other than this course, or am I going to be sold on anything else? Great question. Absolutely not. Once you purchase or you invest in this video course, This video course is going to be the course that you need to set up your whole proposal and your resume. There's nothing else you need to buy. Now, some people still utilize my one-on-one consulting, so it's possible that they come to me and say, hey Ray, I've done my proposal based on what you showed me, or I got a proposal already and I tweaked it the way that you showed me in your course. Now I'd just like to get reassurance, and I'd like for you to review it, and I want to hire you as my consultant for reviewing my proposal before I submit this and before this is ready to go. At that time, we can discuss the pricing as a one-on-one consulting between you and me, and then if you want ongoing consulting or coaching after that, then we can discuss the opportunity on a monthly basis. But you're not obligated to do that. That's nothing written there in stone. It's just a matter of your preference if you want to utilize my one-on-one consulting between you and I. So I hope that answers that question. Let's see. That's all I have in regards to the questions. Remember, again, reoproposal.com, and I will be making updates as I go along with any new information that is accessible to me that I'm aware of. I will be, communicating that with you first, my inner circle, because I want to make sure that the action takers, the one that decided to move forward, are the ones that get the information first, because they deserve it. They took action, they signed up for my course, they have access to it, and they're in my inner circle, so I want to take care of you. Okay, so any opportunities that come my way, I'll definitely communicate that within the portal. With that said, again, go to reoproposal.com, click the link below. As you can see, that'll take you directly to the sales page where you can sign up and get instant access to all my course and my bonuses immediately. Thank you very much. That's my contact information. If you need anything or need help, feel free to reach out to me. Thank you very much, folks. Have an awesome, awesome day and the rest of the week. Take care.